Hey there, quirky folks! I am your host, Anna, and today we're going to look at some other worst Targaryens. The Targaryens ruled over Westeros for almost 300 years, and over this period, the world saw several powerful ones. Some rulers like Aegon I and Jaehaerys I were the greatest of all, while others, not so much. We came up with the first volume of the Worst Targaryens, which included the likes of Aerys the Mad King, Maegor the Cruel, Dany and her brother Viserys, and now we've come up with 5 more names to add on to this list. But before that, it would be amazing if you guys would hit the like and subscribe buttons to show your support. Okay, now, the first name to be added to Volume 2 is Damon Targaryen. Yes, I know that most of you love Damon. He is the protagonist, and Matt Smith really does an amazing job portraying the Rogue Prince. Even I love him. But you have to agree that what Damon does isn't always so nice. You've got to give it up for his skill in battle and his loyalty towards his family. He was a big pain in the ass for King Viserys.
Yes.
But he also respected him and always supported him in his own way. Still, it is known that he has an evil, sinister side that doesn't care for anyone outside of his family. He has always had an ambition to seek the greatest power in the realm, that is, the Iron Throne. Now, having that ambition alone isn't a bad thing at all, but he plans to rule with fear, and that's what Daenerys Targaryen wanted to do as well. His actions have caused a lot of harm to others. First, he used Mysaria to do his own bidding. Then he seduced his niece to force the king to marry Rhaenyra to him. That way, he would have come closer to the Iron Throne. Then he killed his first wife, Rhea Royce, and even claimed to inherit her holdings in Runestone. You could argue that it was because of him that his second wife, Laena Velaryon, died as well.
She wanted to come home, and he denied her.
Damon did what he thought best.
Damon only ever does what is best for Damon.
On top of that, he didn't even comfort his children after the demise of their mother. Then to marry Rhaenyra, he orchestrated the death of Sir Laenor Velaryon.
Never whisper.
Nobody wanted the Sea Snake's brother, Damon, to become the Lord of Driftwood. But still, his claim for the seat was legitimate, as he was basically stating facts when he called Rhaenyra's sons bastards.
Her children are bastards!
And Damon took his head off in open court.
He can keep his tongue.
You could say that he was just defending his wife, but it was a gruesome act, and that's the plain truth of it. All of this is just limited to what happens in the show. But there's more rashness of Damon that follows in George R.R. Martin's book Fire and Blood. So I am going to issue a spoiler warning before I talk about that. You could skip to the next point if you don't want to know what Damon does next. Okay, so I am going to start with the rest of the info in 3, 2, 1. After Dance of the Dragons, Rhaenyra became queen with the help of Damon and the others. But then Damon plays a huge role in making her quote-unquote bitch queen. It is believed that he betrayed Rhaenyra and took a young dragon seed named Nettles as his new lover. And rumors suggested that after his fierce battle with Aemond, he went on to secretly spend the rest of his days with Nettles. Now, the next name on this list is of Aegon IV. There's a long line of Aegons in the Targaryen family tree, but after Aegon I, 3 out of the next 4 Aegons were the absolute worst. Before I discuss Aegon II from House of the Dragon, I'd like to talk about Aegon IV, who was also called Aegon the Unworthy. He was the 11th king of the Targaryen dynasty. He succeeded his father Viserys II and was the grandson of Rhaenyra. He is remembered as one of the worst kings in the entire history of the Targaryens. He fell into gluttony and grew insanely fat. He was also a corrupt ruler and took all kinds of advantage from the power he got. If you're worried that House of the Dragon is going to run out of content after 1 or 2 seasons, well then don't be alarmed at all. Aegon the Unworthy has it all covered as he led the Targaryens to another massive in-house war for the throne. He was wedded to his sister Nerys, but he had 9 mistresses and several bastard children. Out of them, 4 bastard sons came from noble women, and they were called the Great Bastards. But the most notable chief of those children was Daemon Blackfyre. At his deathbed, Aegon IV did the worst thing any Targaryen ruler could have ever done. He legitimized all his bastard children, and Daemon Blackfyre declared himself as the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. So, this caused another civil war between Aegon's only true-born son, Daeron II, and Daemon Blackfyre along with the other bastards. And several generations of Blackfyre rebellions followed it. Ultimately, Aegon the Unworthy suffered a gruesome death that he totally deserved. Due to overindulgence, he had grown so bloated that he could not even lift himself from his couch that became covered in his feces. His limbs were rotting and crawling in hosts of flesh worms. He was given the milk of the poppy to try to dull the pain, but even that wasn't enough.
Bring milk of the poppy.
The next worst Targaryen is Aegon V. Aegon V was a largely inconsequential king in the Targaryen dynasty. He came to be called Aegon the Unlikely, as he was actually the unlikeliest candidate to become king. But still, he was lucky to have ascended the Iron Throne among the other contenders. He was prone to heeding the words of those around him rather than trusting himself. And that was actually for the best, because when he made his own decisions, it all led to destruction and chaos. One of his weaknesses was his obsession with hatching the surviving Targaryen dragon eggs. He believed that the only way the resisting parties would fall in line was if he had more dragons. So that led to a great uncontrollable fire called Tragedy at Summerhall. This fire destroyed the castle and killed Aegon V himself along with his Lord Commander, Sir Duncan Strong. So all in all, Aegon V wasn't all bad, but terribly stupid. The next truly bad Targaryen is Aegon II. We've already seen how unfit Aegon II is to rule. Even as a teen, all he wanted to do was drown in wine and foolery, as he just couldn't keep it in his pants. And then as a grown-up, his bad habits and behavior towards maids still didn't change. He is the worst of the worst, and you could argue that he's another Joffrey Lannister in the making. The reason I say that is a bit of a spoiler for House of the Dragon. So again, you could skip this point and move on to the next if you don't want to know. Upon the death of King Viserys, Aegon ends up usurping Rhaenyra's throne, thanks to his mother Alicent and his grandfather Otto. And when Rhaenyra attacked King's Landing, he fled like a coward. But later, he was a part of another rebellion and ended up murdering Rhaenyra by feeding her to his dragon, Sunfire. The reason I said that he was another Joffrey in the making was because he was also killed by being poisoned, just like Joffrey was. Now finally, the last name in the list of the worst Targaryens is Aemon Targaryen.
I don't give a shit about Tawnies. Nephews? Have you come to train?
In pursuit of gaining a dragon, he stole Vhagar from Rhaena and Baela Velaryon. He obviously lost an eye for that, as he came to be called Aemon One-Eye. He will prove to be one of the worst enemies of Rhaenyra and the Blacks. He ends up killing Lucerys and his dragon Eryx. And then he joined Sir Criston Cole and his brother to take down Princess Rhaenys Targaryen and her dragon as well. But Aemon's true target had always been Damon. He saw Damon as his true match, and we've seen a setup for this already. Damon, on the other hand, had also sworn to Rhaenyra that he would avenge the death of Lucerys. So, all that led to a massive battle between Damon and Aemon, where none of them survived. But Damon was the victor, as he drove his sword into Aemon's blind eye and killed him. Again, something like this is what Aemon deserved. Okay, with this, we bring our list of the worst Targaryens to an end. Which of them do you hate the most? Let us know in the comments. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one.